He's not meditating, he's not at peace, he's losing, not to another swordsman, not to an army. He's losing to something far more dangerous, the noise inside his own skull. The voice that says you're not enough. The one that says keep moving, keep fighting, keep proving it. Because the moment you stop, you'll have to sit with who you actually are. And for most people, that is the harder thing to face. Musashi Miyamoto fought over 60 duels in his life. 60. He never lost a single one. But for years, he was losing the only fight that actually mattered. The one happening right here. This isn't a video about ancient Japan. It's not really about swords either. It's about the war you've been fighting since the moment you were old enough to care what other people think of you. And how, maybe, you can finally start winning it. Vagabond is a manga by Inoue Takehiko. And if you haven't read it, you should, because what Inoue did wasn't just draw a story about a swordsman. He drew a story about a human being trying to get out of his own way, trying to burn down his ego before his ego burned down everything around him. And the philosophy running through every single panel? It's Stoicism. Almost beat for beat. The same ideas Marcus Aurelius wrote by candlelight on a Roman war front. The same ones Epictetus carved out while literally enslaved. These weren't comfortable men writing from comfortable places. They were people under pressure, writing about how to survive it without losing themselves. 3 lessons. 3 moments in Musashi's life that changed everything. Let's go. Lesson 1. Amor Fati. Love what happens to you. Not accept it. Not white-knuckle your way through it. Actually love it. I know how that sounds when your life is mid-collapse, when the thing you built just fell apart, when you did everything right and still landed wrong. The last thing you want is some philosopher telling you to love this. But stay with me, because this lesson lives in the past, in the thing that already happened, the one you'd erase if you could. Early Musashi is a mess. He fights to be seen. Every sword he raises is really just a question screaming out loud. Do I matter? Am I real? Am I worth anything? That's not power. That's a wound that learned how to look like one, and then exile happens. He gets locked away, cast out, left alone with nothing but time and himself, which if you've ever spent too much time alone with yourself, you know that can go one of 2 ways. It breaks you, or it builds you. Think about the last hard season you went through, the one you'd go back and erase if you could. The breakup, the failure, the humiliation, the thing you don't talk about at dinner. Now ask yourself honestly, who were you before that happened? And who are you now? I'm not saying the pain was good. I'm saying something grew in the soil of it anyway. Whether you noticed or not, that's Amor Fati. Not pretending the fire didn't burn you. Recognizing that you came out tempered. Musashi starts watching water. Watching trees bend in wind without breaking. He stops demanding the world reshape itself around him. And something, slowly, quietly, shifts. The struggle wasn't in the way of his path. It was the path. Yours probably is too. Lesson 2. The Dichotomy of Control. This one doesn't live in the past. It lives right now. This morning. In the first 30 seconds after you picked up your phone. Epictetus said something so simple it almost sounds stupid. Some things are in our control. Others are not. 2,000 years of philosophy. The thesis is, know the difference. Simple, not easy. There's a gap between those 2 words the size of a lifetime, and you are living inside that gap. This morning, in the first 30 seconds after you picked up your phone. Within 30 seconds of waking, 30, you already feel behind. Someone got a promotion. Someone's traveling. Someone's body looks like that. Someone's startup just raised money and they're 23. That feeling, that hollow, I'm losing a race I never signed up for feeling. That is what happens when you try to control a scoreboard you don't own. Look at your hands. What are they holding on to right now that actually belongs to someone else's life? Musashi's whole early career is this. He watches opponents, measures them, calculates whether he's enough, and every time he does, he shrinks. Because you cannot expand and compare at the same time. The mind isn't big enough for both. His shift comes when he stops asking, how strong is he? And starts asking, where are my feet? Breath, posture, the ground beneath him. These are his. Not the opponent's speed. Not whether the rain makes the mud slippery. Not whether he's remembered. His breath, his feet, his center. Now take that out of feudal Japan and put it in your afternoon. Your one controllable thing in any given moment is the quality of your attention. Where you point it, how deliberately you hold it. Your competitor's growth, not yours. Whether people like what you made, not yours. Whether the algorithm rewards it, not yours. The work itself, the integrity of it, the honesty in it, the full presence you bring to it, that's yours. Only yours. Always yours. Musashi didn't win his greatest duels with power. He won because he showed up whole while everyone else was scattered, somewhere between the fight in front of them and the story in their heads about how it would end. Lesson 3. Premeditatio Malorum. This one doesn't live in the past. It doesn't live in the present. It lives in the thing you haven't let yourself look at yet. The fear you keep circling. Every morning, the Stoics would sit down and visualize the worst possible outcome. The loss, the failure, the ending where things don't go your way. Not to be pessimistic, to be free. Because fear doesn't live in the thing you're afraid of. It lives in the uncertainty around it. The fog, the maybe, the what if. The moment you look at the worst clearly, really clearly, it loses most of its grip. Musashi arrives late to his duel with Sasaki Kojiro. History reads that as arrogance. Vagabond reads it as something else entirely. He arrives late because he's already been there. In his mind 100 times. He's already lost. Already felt the blade. Already sat with the version of events where he doesn't walk away. And because of that, he's free to move. He's not fighting to survive. He's not fighting for legacy. He's fighting because he's already made peace with every possible ending. That's the quietest kind of courage there is. You want to know why the dream is still a draft? Why the conversation still hasn't happened? Why the change is still just a thought you have in the shower? It's not because you're lazy. It's because you've never sat across from the fear and looked at it in the face. So do it. Tonight. Sit down. Ask yourself, what is the actual worst thing that happens if this goes wrong? Write it down. Look at it. Let it be a real thing that exists in the world. And then notice, quietly, almost boringly, that you're still here. That you'd survive it. That the fear was always bigger than the fact. Now you can move. Musashi spent the better half of his life chasing a title. The greatest. Under heaven. Something that would make the weight of his childhood feel worth it. Something that would silence the voice. But the voice doesn't go silent when you win. It doesn't go quiet when they applaud. Or when the numbers go up. Or when the person who doubted you finally has to admit they were wrong. You may have felt it already. That hollow echo in the chest right after something good happens. Like the trophy is real, but the feeling isn't quite. Because external victories can't fill an internal wound. Musashi figures this out in the shadow of an old tree, somewhere in Japan, in his final years. Not on a battlefield, not with an audience, alone, breathing, with nothing left to prove. And in that silence, in that complete, terrifying, beautiful silence, he finds the thing he was hunting for his entire life. It was there all along. He was it. The Stoics never promised you a comfortable life. They promised you something quieter and far more durable. The ability to stand in the middle of chaos and know who you are, to let the storm come, to let the noise rise, and to remain, not because you're numb, but because you're rooted. That's the war worth winning. Not the argument, not the rank, not the version of success that looks good in a thumbnail. The war within. The one happening in the space between who you are right now and who you know you could be. Most people never fight it. They hand their inner life over to distraction, to comparison, to noise. It's easier. It's safer. The inner battlefield is uncomfortable and quiet, and it asks hard questions. But the people who go there, who do the actual, unglamorous daily work of knowing themselves, they become something rare, something the rest of the world can feel when they walk into a room. We live in a world full of noise, full of performance, full of people trying to look like the thing instead of becoming it. And underneath all of that, somewhere quiet, there is a world desperately searching for something genuine, something that has done the work, something unshaken. What if that world is looking for you, not the polished version, not the one with the right answers? You, right now, doing the unglamorous thing. Tonight, don't scroll, don't optimize, just sit. 10 minutes, alone. With the question Musashi spent a lifetime answering, who am I when there's nothing left to prove? That's where it starts. That's where it has always started.